What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new, welcome. In today's episode, I'm going to be telling you guys about my one-day trip to LA. You probably have already seen the scenery video, full of great views. There's more to it than that, so I wanted to take this time to show you guys or tell you guys kind of what went right, what went wrong, what could have been better, and how to make it better. So if you are thinking about going to LA soon and you haven't been already, this video is definitely for you. I'm so excited about telling you guys everything, and yeah, let's get started. The section that I want to talk about is money. LA is a pretty expensive city, just like a New York, just like a Miami kind of thing. So of course, for hotel and airfare, I always recommend using Kayak or Skyscanner for some of the best deals. As far as public transit, I always recommend that you guys use that, but keep watching because I have a little bit more to say about LA's public transit. My kind of go-to formula is to always stay at a hotel that's near an airport with an airport shuttle. This is eliminating cost already. So if you do that, when you land at your airport, you can just hop on the hotel's bus and then you're right there at the hotel. Whenever you need to leave the hotel to use public transit, you just get back on the airport shuttle and you go back to the airport, and then from the airport you can take the train or bus to wherever it is that you're going. Alright, so before I really get into kind of the different landmarks that you guys have heard of, I think it's very important for me to mention that LA is a media hub for a lot of different places. There's a lot of media out there. There's a lot of images that come out of LA, and with it circulating through the media, a lot of that stuff can seem more grand than what it really is. So what I'm saying is to lower your expectations for some of these places. Let's start with Santa Monica. Like I said, Santa Monica has a Pacific Park Pier, which is actually pretty cool. It has a few rides, has lots of restaurants. It also has the ocean. It's also very, very, very crowded. I'm talking like 60 plus people were coming off the train and just going towards the pier. So it's actually kind of hard to navigate your way through. The beach is also really crowded. So if you like to be in large crowds like that, that would be a little bit more for you. Don't expect the pier or the Pacific Park to be this extra grand like amusement park, because it's not. It's like a small little carnival type of deal. Just a couple things for you to do while you're at the beach. There's also bike and scooter rentals, which is kind of cool. They also have a volleyball court. And then once you leave this beach area of Santa Monica, you can go over to Santa Monica Place, which is a string of malls. You just walk up and down the streets and you'll find all kinds of malls and coffee shops and cool things like that. So incorporate that as a part of your to-do for LA. Honestly, it's a lot of shopping. I didn't see anything out of the ordinary than what we already have here in Atlanta, outside I think of Brandy Melville, which I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of YouTubers, you know, vlog about and do shopping hauls from and different things like that. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind. But I will say this, when it comes to malls, I do know that a lot of buyers will either buy, depending on where you're located in the United States, from the New York spots or from the LA spots. And some of them only have one spot. So it may just be solely everything's coming from LA or solely everything's coming from New York, depending on the brand and all that good stuff. So that's just something to keep in mind. You may find something unique, is what I'm saying, in LA than you would wherever it is that you're from. Okay, now let's move on to Hollywood. So after traveling through Santa Monica, we hopped on the train and moved over to Hollywood. In Hollywood, we came up the train. We wanted to see the Walk of Fame. And as I mentioned before, media has a way of really hyping this stuff up. So we get off the train and we're looking around to see, well, where do we go for the Walk of Fame? And it's just right there. It's a sidewalk. It's, you know, good. It's a crowded area. So they have street shows, they have a lot of people walking, then you have people that are randomly stopping because they see a star with a, you know, celebrity on it they want to take a picture of, or they're stealing down or whatever to take the picture, and then you're trying to not get stepped on, or it's a very hard area to maneuver around in smoothly because there's a lot of stop, go, move around, this type of thing. And then if people are setting up street shows, they're also setting them up where the stars are. So hopefully it's not someone that you really wanted to see, because you may not get that chance if they're in the middle of a show. So people are just walking and doing their thing. And when I say it is hyped up, it's because I was walking by and I think Melissa McCarthy's star had like tomato sauce spilled all over it. So it really is just a regular sidewalk that people are using. It just so happens to have stars on it with people's names on it, which is kind of cool. And but no, because again, like I said, there's tomato sauce on Melissa McCarthy's star. So that's just something to keep in mind. It wasn't as grand, I think, is what I thought that it would be based off of what the media put out there. So that's just something to keep in mind. The other thing is that once you're done walking the stars and figuring out where people are and looking down and all that stuff, there's also a TMZ tour. My advice would be to get on one of the double-decker buses and go through. Some people go in front of like celebrity houses, they'll take you around, that kind of thing. If you're more into outdoor stuff, I would do the Hollywood sign hike. So apparently that's like 2 hours, but once you get up to the top, you'll be right there on the Hollywood sign. Or you could walk a couple blocks down. There's a mall right by the Hollywood Wax Museum, which is the original. You should check that out. Right by the Hollywood Wax Museum, the mall, and you can just go up to, I think it's the 3rd level, and you can actually see the Hollywood sign from far away. It is far away. So I think that investing in the Hollywood hike would make for a grander experience with that. Okay, and now let's talk about public transit. Okay, so the public transit was interesting to say the least. We started off where the train was up on top on the outside, and it was okay. You know, you see all different types of people. You see tourists, you see homeless people, you see just regular people that are going about their day that are local, and that was cool. Then there's a shift from over here in the Santa Monica area where the train actually goes down into the tunnel, and by the time you get down to the tunnel, it's like things become a little bit more sketch. At this point, I'm talking about there is security there, but you seeing people who are out of their minds, maybe heavy in the drug use, and not weed, you guys, like heavy in like hard drugs, and they are just really out of it. And it's not at that point somewhere where I would think anyone would want to be by themselves. Then the other thing that I want to mention with the public transit part is that there's a lot of Instagram things that are posted about LA, different cool food items and different things like that. And Eric wanted to see one of those food choices. I don't really want to exactly say what it is. Let me think about that more. I may put it in the description box. But basically, when we came out of the train, my intuition just was like, I felt like I wanted to just be pulled out of whatever area I just landed in and go back to the hotel immediately. I did not feel safe, and night was starting to catch us. And I was trying to beat night because I knew we were taking the public transit. And it just, like, the further we went, the more sketch it got, the more unsafe I felt. So you have these things that are all hyped up on Instagram and, oh, look at my ice cream cone, blah, blah, blah. But then they fail to mention that you're in a sketch part of town. There's homeless people eating out of the trash cans right outside of the door. There's people who are drugged out. They are talking to themselves, and it's just not a safe place to be. And I told him, I said, you know, I don't know what this is, but if you think we're walking back to the train station at this point, no, that's not happening. I said, you have to call an Uber at this point. I can't do it. He calls an Uber, and I did ask him, I said, so what part of town exactly is this that we are, and is it considered a safe area? Because maybe I'm just bugging out, maybe I'm in my head and I'm just freaking out. He said, you are in you're very close to the sketch part of town, is what he said. You're not at all far from it. I said, what part of town is that? He said, Skid Row. So I don't know anything about Skid Row, and I Google it, and it is video of over 20,000 homeless people camped out. It also is known for a lot of gang violence out there as well. And I just felt so irritated because it's like, don't promote stuff and have people go to these places and potentially put them in danger. So my advice to you guys that are new to traveling, make sure you know where you are going before you go. And I'm gonna go look for some kind of app or something that maybe you can plug in an address to kind of see what the crime rates are in that part of town. I thought that was totally uncool of a lot of different media outlets to promote this particular item. And not mention that you should not go there by yourself. You probably should only go during the day, and that you are in a sketch part of town. And the place itself also mentions that they are open all the way up until 2 a.m. So that, no. And that's just something that I think people really also need to be aware of. Don't just think that because it's on Instagram and it's glamorized, that it is glamorous, because it may be dangerous. You see what I'm saying? So that's just something to think about before you go saying, oh, I saw this on Instagram, let me go check it out. No, don't do that. And then as far as the public transit, because I kind of went off subject there, LA is a driving city, but so is Atlanta. It's a driving city. And when you have people who are predominantly drivers that live in the city, then they're not gonna really be putting too much emphasis on their city for better public transit, to be honest with you, because they're driving everywhere. It doesn't affect them, and people only communicate or vocalize what is in their favor, what affects them in some kind of way. And if it doesn't affect them, they're probably less likely to say anything about it. And if you take New York for example, a very well developed public transit system. You also have a lot of locals and working class people who are using these systems to get to and from. So they are on it when it comes to making sure they have enough stops, making sure that everything is right, security is up, and all this type of things. What I'm saying is, in New York, the people are more well balanced. There's all different types of people on these trains, whereas in LA, one group of person is outnumbering everyone else that's on these trains. And I mean, still use it, of course, during the day. Do not let night catch you on these trains, on these buses, or anything like that. So what would have made this the ideal trip to LA? Well, for starters, I would say try not to cram everything in one day like how I did. I think the ideal time for this city is going to be 3 days. And just throwing things out there, the first day I would have done Santa Monica, because at that point you're getting off the plane, you probably just want to relax, but maybe you're a little bit excited, so you want to have a little bit of fun. And I think Santa Monica offers both of those things. You can lay out on the beach, you can take a cool little bike ride, get on a scooter, you can play volleyball, you can go shopping, or if you want to just kind of ramp it up a little bit, then you could go to the Pacific Park, which I think the tickets were somewhere around 30 bucks. I'll leave their website in the description box below. So that's how I would have spent the first day. The second day I would have done something a little bit more vigorous. So I would have spent the day in Hollywood. I would have done the Hollywood hike to the sign, and I also would have rented out one of the double-decker tourist buses so you can kind of see all of what Hollywood has to offer. By the third day, I would have done something a little bit more fancy. Beverly Hills, maybe hit up Rodeo Drive and Sunset Boulevard and all these other cool places that you see. Even if it's just for window shopping, I think you get the best of both worlds. The chill vibes, the fancy vibes, the what's happening vibes. And yeah, that would be the ideal trip to LA. This brings me to the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, comment below. I'll try to answer as best I can. And make sure you subscribe to the channel. Until next time, I'll see you. Bye.